Let me turn off that countdown. And here we go. Let's see if he joins this time around. Now we have Method Black. Everyone's in the arena. We're good to go. So Smexon, of course, is on that Arms Warrior. And this countdown is incorrect. Sorry, guys. But Vanguards, Smexon, and Vincent Wong. I mean, Vanguards and Smexon have been playing this turbo composition with each other for quite some time now. And I don't know. These guys put out some crazy damage. And Vincent Wong, new to the roster, though. Method Black, still running that Mage Boomkin. I mean, these guys have been playing this for so long. This is what they're known for. And I mean, I feel like the composition advantage is definitely in Method Black's favor.
Even back in the qualifiers when Chanimals was playing Mage Moonkin with Gorecki, they were able to beat Vanguards playing Turbo. I think it's pretty heavily favored for the Mage Moonkin. The only really wild card right now is Vincent Wong on a Holy Paladin. You typically see a Resto Druid.
Yeah.
So his Paladin utility has to be enough to counteract what I would consider a counter for this turbo. So they're going to have to do some pretty unique stuff. We see Asper pushing up. They're going to charge him immediately onto Asper. Majorden moving in invisibility, looking for an early polymorph from stealth, I think, onto Vincent Wong. He's going to land that polymorph, bash over onto Vanguards. He has to Shamanistic Rage immediately. Asper taking a bit of a damage there, but now with the CC setup, he should be already actually getting reflected on his clone, having to trinket that at low HP. Now Feloria stuck into a full fear. Vanguard's getting cloned up, though, with a root beam onto Vincent. Surprised he's not going to Aura Mastery. That Windwalk Totem instead from Vanguards is going to free him up from that. Now Ascendance pop from Vanguard's trying to build up some more momentum for his team. Asper has Barskin available if he chooses to use it. Floria has his Avenging Wrath, so he's got a lot of boost in healing. And the one thing about Method Black is they're always perfect about not overlapping their cooldowns.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, they didn't really get all that much, but they did get Shamanistic Rage. But here we go. The Deep Freeze onto Vincent Wong. Vanguards has no Shaman Rage for 20 more seconds. The Mass Spell Effect is going to prevent more CC onto Vincent Wong. But regardless, they're just going to CC Vanguards at low health. Frostjaw lands. Vanguard's still at 50% healthier. Magen and Asper are looking to get a setup here. Another Cyclone, keeping Vanguards low. Then they swap it over onto Vincent Wong. Vanguards without the Shaman Rage for just a few more seconds into the DR Bash. And Saved by the Light is going to proc. And that full Polymorph lands, and it's going to force a bubble. A lot of defensive cooldowns there, at least just Wings and Bubble coming out from Vincent Wong, but I mean, he still has his Trinket.
They still haven't even gotten Barskin from Asper. It's really not looking good for Luminosity. Now Smexon getting controlled. Root Beam over onto Vincent Wong. He gets Deep Frozen on the Aura Mastery. Well-timed Deep Freeze from Majorden. Masterflight comes out to stop the Sheep. It is going to break up the CC, but Vanguard's had to trade his Shamanistic Rage regardless. Vincent Wong holding onto his Trinket here as they swap some damage onto Smexon. Waiting for that Shamanistic Rage to fade for the Deep Freeze to rotate off cooldown. We can see Asper just going to control Vanguards with these Cyclones. Building up for his damage, getting into a Lunar Eclipse there with the Astral Communion. Smexon getting poly. We can see Method are about to tee off. They're setting it up for a home run at the moment. Now the full clone onto Smexon. Vanguards knows that they're teeing off. He tries to run away in desperation. Goes in the full Fist of Justice. Full poly onto Vincent Wong. This could be the game if Vincent does not trinket appropriately. He does get the trinket off. Masterflight comes up, gets the Gnar, will save Vanguards, and Vincent Wong is going to stop the setup.
Yeah, Vincent Wong stopping the setup as well as those mass spell reflects that they have to work through. It must be really annoying for them, but I mean, they're doing a great job getting rid of them with just things like Moonfire and stuff like that. And whenever the setup isn't available, they're just constantly pumping out that pressure to whoever's in their face. And against Turbo, someone's always in their face, right? Vanguard still has that Shamanistic Rage available to him. He might need to use it. He can't. He's
stuck in silence.
He's in that full Hodge in the beam as well. Vincent Wong in the full Polymorph. He gets out of the beam and finally gets that Rage off. Rallying Cry coming out as well, keeping Vanguards alive. And whoa, they just got a lot of buttons with that setup.
Yeah, that was basically everything that was remaining. Ancestral Guidance, healing, still left for Vanguards. He's got to be careful. He needs to stay at the box at least until his Trinket comes off CD. But then that means they're just going to swap over onto Smexon. He's forced to die by the sword. And even just with an exchange of damage, forcing so many cooldowns out from Smexon. Vincent Wong now caught into a full Cyclone. What CC do they have to chain out? The Deep Freeze lands. Smexon could easily go down. He pops a Regeneration Heal. Vanguards gets cloned up. He's forced to Trinket that to assist Smexon. Masterflight comes out. Vincent Wong pops the Avenging Wrath. They stabilize a full Hodge onto Feloria at the moment. Majorden dipping low here from that overextension down to 35% HP, trying to punish Feloria as well. But we can see as soon as they know they don't have the kill, instantly 3 clones on Smexon, 3 polys on Smexon, 3 polys on Vanguard. It's just really hard to get the mobility you need to get a kill as a turbo in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta applaud them though. As soon as they pushed up, they punished it. But here's the setup again. Triple CC going out. Hodge on the Vanguards in the silence. The bubble finally forced out of Wong through all that CC. Should be able to keep Vanguards alive, but how much longer can they just survive the consistent onslaught? Now they're swapping it back around on the Asper. The full Hodge goes out. Barkskin being used. Hand of Sacrifice being used as well. Asper in human form just taking all the damage, but he's just gonna go ahead and blink back, and he's A-okay. But constantly, Luminosity's pushing these guys out of their pillar.
Yeah, we can see Vanguard's getting controlled on that Ascendance now by Asper. They're looking to tee off here shortly. There is Shamanistic Rage still available, so at least 2 more setups, most likely for Method Black here. There's the full Fist of Justice, forcing the Shamanistic Rage out on this setup. The Polymorph lands. Maybe they're going to pursue after that. Gift of the Naru coming out. Master Fleck used now as well, but Celestial Alignment is available for Asper, so he's going to have a really big boost of damage for the next setup, and Vanguard's has no Shamanistic Rage to deal with it. Vincent Wong has his Trinket. Vincent Wong is the key to surviving this next setup. Floria is down to half mana at the moment, tied with Vincent Wong, actually. Spexon still getting polymorphed. We see Method Black teeing off again, setting up with this crowd control. They lock Vanguards out. Celestial Alignment gets popped. Root Beam into the full Fist of Justice. Vincent needs to Trinket. He tries to get a big heal. If he gets the Execution Sense, will that be enough as a standalone? Master Fleck comes out. Vanguards drops the Windwalk. Saber Light is going to proc, and Vanguards is going to survive the Celestial Alignment out from Asper. Well done from Vincent Wong and Spexon coordinating together to keep him alive.
Yeah, and now that he survived that, he has that trinket available to them. Maybe he could trinket out and heal for the next setup. Smexon forced back now as all of the damage was swapped over onto him as Vanguards goes in line of sight. It's just over and over, rinse and repeat, and it seems like they're getting ahead, but at the same time, Luminosity is surviving over and over and over again. We are at 3% dampening at this point, and both of these paladins at nearly 50% mana. So far, it almost looks like an even game. Vanguards is in a lot of trouble, though. Shamanistic Rage is going to be forced out of him as Vincent Wong is put into that full polymorph. He doesn't have an out. He has literally no out. Sham Rage is still up, and they're going to swap it over onto Smexon and force the die by the sword. Everyone has to press their defensive cooldowns to survive the crazy amount of damage, but Sham Rage is now down, and they know it. They're pushing in. The beam goes out, interrupting Vincent Wong. Vanguard's putting the DR bash. The rallying cry comes out, but is it enough to save him? He gets interrupted on his own heal. Vincent Wong put into the full cyclone. Surely Vanguards will go down, and there it is. Method Black pushing in when they smelled blood in the water to take the first win in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, I don't think the Paladin utility really helped them a terrible amount. It seemed pretty similar to how the Druid matchup would go. Obviously, Paladin has a little bit more outs than a Resto Druid, but the Resto Druid has consistent healing with Hots, so he can keep Hots up on a target. And it just ends the same, a different flavor, but it ends the same. So maybe they're going to try the Disc Priest this time. Maybe they just wanted to lead with Vincent on his main, see if they could win with it, and then determine whether or not it was worthwhile to try his Disc Priest instead. But I can't help but feel that even with the Disc Priest, it's still going to be incredibly hard. Method Black have a lot of practice against this comp, and they do very well against it. So I would almost like to see maybe some desperate move, like a Rep Paladin, like some weird comp, like Rep Paladin Warrior.
Rep Paladin.
Just something different that maybe Method isn't used to, because fighting Turbo is like their #1 thing. Like, they're so well practiced at it that you're usually not going to beat them in there at that game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, though. You know, watching other Turbos going up against this team, I've noticed that a lot of Druids end up going because they have to preemptively hot so much to heal through all these setups. But Vincent Wong, he was hanging with Floria throughout that game. He was at 50% mana. I don't know how, but if they're able to bring the game even longer into dampening, maybe that turtling, maybe that consistent pressure can pull them through. Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen, but the next map that they're going to be choosing is going to be Turbo's home base, Dalaran Sewers. They love them some Dalaran Sewers. Do you think that's going to give them any of an advantage against this team?
Well, I mean, the other thing is Maldiva was on this team, Luminosity.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if he volunteered off or they didn't think that it was worthwhile having him on the team. But we saw Fabio not play any games at BlizzCon, so maybe they just assumed that Warlock wasn't worth having. But the #1 reason that you would want a Warlock on this team is so that you can counter this comp. And now that they don't have Maldiva to try and counteract this comp, they're like desperation clinging to try and find a way to win.
Yeah, absolutely. But here we go. We are going to go down to Dalaran Sewers, and I'll see you guys in the arena. Welcome to Dalaran Sewers, everybody. It's game 2 of this best of 5 series in GPL number 1. Luminosity is currently down 0-1 against Method Black, and I have to say, it was a pretty convincing win for Method Black that first game, but here we go. We are on a much smaller map now, and these players are top tier. I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt accordingly to game number 1. They found their pillar, but they're going to jump right onto Asper right away. Asper, both of them getting rooted up right away. Smexen pushing in, trying to get some damage out. Majidin trying to polymorph up Mexican. He's going to get that polymorph, and then he's going to push in to get the full poly onto Vincent Wong. Vanguards knows the damage is coming. He's just shamanistic rages right away, but they're going to swap it over onto Smexen, forcing him defensive as well.
I would like to see Smexen and Vincent coordinate some double stuns. Like if they're gonna go after Asper, use the Stormbolt on Floria, use the Hodge on Asper, and just lock them down every 30 seconds. Look to set up something. We see the Stormbolt now over onto Floria. Asper already at half HP. He's not even Hodged yet. Floria is out of that stun though. Should be able to stabilize. Now that that Barskin is burned through, maybe they can look for another setup a little bit later. Vanguard's getting into that full Fist of Justice. Trinkets right away because I believe that was the Celestial Alignment out from Asper. So Asper has a significant boost of damage at the moment, but he's put into that full fear from Smexen. Smexen is aware of the situation, trying to peel it appropriately, but now he's going to get swapped over to, potentially, full dots on Smexen, full dots on Vanguards. They could go for either target at the moment. It looks like Vanguards is going to be the primary one, but Vincent Wong with that Avenging Wrath should be able to heal through the pressure pretty easily. Asper getting a cheeky knockoff. Vanguard's trying to waddle back up to the box here, and I would like to see that Stormbolt Hodge and just go after Asper and try and coordinate a little bit of damage. It seems like Vincent is just unable to accomplish too much with the Hodge. I don't remember him using it even last game, so it would be nice to see them coordinate that together.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. Smexen taking a bit of pressure. He's going to Heroic Leap back to Vincent Wong and taking so much damage. The Mass Spell Effect on the Deep Freeze may prevent more CC onto Vincent Wong for now, and that Mass Spell Effect may have just saved Smexen's life. He's going to push back in knowing that Vincent Wong isn't in any CC. He's going to catch that Execution Sentence, but he gets cloned on it. That could be detrimental to a setup right here onto Smexen. The Execution Sentence isn't going to be able to land on him, and that's going to prevent a whole bunch of heal. There's the full Hodge on him. Vincent Wong put into that beam. He's gonna get Aura Mastery out of it, but into a full clone, and Smexen has to force himself onto this pillar, but Asper is the one who's getting pushed back at this point. Saved by the Light is proccing. He's gonna use that Barkskin as well, but now they're pushing in, and they get a Hodge onto Floria. That's the Hodge you were talking about right there, and the cheeky knockoff on the Smexen just to prevent more damage on the Floria, but it's just gonna get hopped back up by him, and now Vanguards looks like he is the kill target for now. The DR Bop is gonna come out for that bash, and it looks like both teams have stabilized for now. But as I say that, Asper just takes so much pressure from just Smexen. Floria forced to use those wings and get those Hand of Sacrifices out, as well as the Aura Mastery. And it looks like he's trying to prevent a CC, but also stop a lot of that damage with that Aura Mastery.
Smexen knew he was getting set up on there. It was forced to use his trinket and die by the sword to reduce the incoming pressure. But you can see once Smexen and Vincent get those stuns, then they can lock down their target a little bit better to hit them. They got so much more pressure, so I'd like to continue to see that. But it's obviously hard for Vincent to get Hodges on Floria. He's playing very far away, so like I said, I'd like to see Hodges on Asper, Stormbolt on Floria, use them at the same time. We see Vincent charging across the map, the entire team of Luminosity trying to take the pillar. There's the full Fist of Justice onto Floria, but Smexen's getting controlled across the map. They left him behind. I don't think Vanguard is going to be able to solo him. It looks like he's going to try. He has to trinket out of the silence, though, pop the Shamanistic Rage. Ascendance is still up. Smexen able to reconnect. Valoria ran right back to Smexen. I'm not sure if he was aware of him getting controlled there. They do get landed nice stuff, and he gets locked on his heel into execute range.
Oh my.
And I can't help but feel that Valoria just ran right back to Smexen. Like Smexen was sitting there in a polymorph like, please let me hit you. Please let me hit you. Please let me hit you. And he just walked right back to him and was like, there you go.
You know, I feel like he was a little scared of Vanguards. Vanguards just popping crazy amounts of pressure on him, chunking him to half health. He just runs away from Vanguards, and he meets up with Smexen coming out of CC, and as they both connect with one another, he gets locked out on a Heroic Leap lockout. And even though Asper did his best to try to peel him, knocking them both off, regardless, he was able to Heroic Leap back up and finish the game there.
Look at the positioning. If he had just stayed at the box, he got charge stun because he ran right back to Smexen.
Yep.
And Vanguard's was cloned, and Vincent was beamed. Everybody was CC'd. If he just stayed on that side of the map, Smexen would have probably never touched it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smaller map, Dalaran Sewers. It's much easier to lose track of where the positioning of two melee are throughout the game. And, you know, like on Dalaran Sewers, they could literally be anywhere, you know?
You're going to have to rename Smexen to Smexican. That's what you said. I actually, was
Dude,
like,
I
wait, what
actually
did you
heard
say?
myself say it. It was like coming out like Smexican. Okay, I just kind of rolled with it. I knew you guys would enjoy that. You're welcome. The next map that's going to be chosen by Method Black is going to be Tol'vir Arena, which is just about the polar opposite of Dalaran Sewers. It is much larger, and as soon as the game is ready, we're going to jump right into that. Jumping over the border. Oh my goodness,
God.
guys. Holy moly, Twitch chat. No, but for real, that was a great game coming out by Vanguards and Smexen. I mean, they saw an opportunity and they took it. And all of a sudden, like, we saw those crazy push-ins. I mean, normally we see Turbo have like an advantage in late game, but these guys aren't looking for late game. They're looking to get a kill right here, right now. Pushing in.
It's actually deceiving.
Yeah, I
The
know.
late game is actually in favor of the Mage Moonkin.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it time and time again, especially against your team and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you're running against these guys, but
60% dampening, you eventually die. And it's for the same reason there, is that it's just so hard to actually hit the Paladin. You really want to be attacking the Holy
Right.
Paladin, but Floria kind of made it easy for Smexen there at the end. So I think here on Tol'vir, it's going to be a lot more challenging for them to actually connect. Vincent, if he wants to cross the map like that, has to go a really much longer distance. And I still think that's pretty risky. I would rather just see Stormbolt on Pally, Hodge on Boomkin, maybe just hit Boomkin a lot more, and just coordinate them together, because they should be able to do that.
I mean, yeah.
Always in range of Vincent, and Pally's almost always in range of Smexen, and just use those together and lock the Moonkin down in place so he can't displace and root them and clone them. And I think it would be a better, safer strategy, definitely on this map, because it's going to be very hard to get to Floria.
It's going to be so hard for him to get to Floria, man. It is such a large map. And I mean, like, wherever he demounts near Floria, he's going to be there for a while, especially against his team. If he tries to be out in the open, like max range against these guys, I mean, between the blinks and the displaces, it's going to be very difficult for Vincent Wong to avoid that CC out in the open. But here we go. This is the map choice for Method Black, as they were the loser of the very last game. But it's tied up 1-1 here in a best-of-5 series against Luminosity and Method Black. Now, the winner of this matchup is going to go and face, I believe, Cloud9, and the loser of this matchup will be going to face Hot Fire. So, I mean, still, they're not out of the fire yet. As soon as this match is over, they both have really hard teams to go and face. But obviously, you want to be in that winner's bracket, one less series to get to the finals.
Yeah, we see Asbury majored in the center of the map. Reluctant to go behind the box here. They know that they're most vulnerable when they're standing on top of Luminosity. Luminosity playing a melee cleave, so they need to be in melee range to deal damage. So trying to exploit the advantages they have as casters. We see a charge now over onto Asper. Pet Nova coming out from Majin very early on. There's the Hodge onto Asper, but a little bit too late on the Stormbolt, so he is going to be able to dispel that Hodge, which means that Asper should be able to start kiting here if he so chooses to. Vanguard does get a trinket out of that root beam. Pop his Shamanistic Rage. He wants to stay offensive here. Nature's Vigil out from Asper. A lot of swap pressure on Smexen. He's already down to 20% HP. The Celestial alignment doing an immense amount of damage for Asper here, but Smexen, Vanguards, and Vincent Wong do manage to get out of line of sight, stabilize themselves, and now that Method Black know that the kill is lost, they're just going to pull away, try and drag Smexen and Vanguards into the middle of the map for the next setup.
That's crazy. Out of all that damage, all they got was a trinket, rage, and wings. I mean, rage and wings are both relatively short cooldowns, but that's unbelievable. Really level heads from Luminosity, not overreacting with their defenses. But here's the setup on the Vanguards. He has no Sham Rage or trinket. He's in that full Hodge, and that's going to force Vincent Wong to bubble. And so, as I was saying, they didn't have to use a lot of defensive cooldowns. Right there, they're just finally, just every single setup has to force something out of Luminosity, it would seem.
We can see right there, like the Stormbolt onto Asper, it didn't really get too much done. Vanguards had to run. I just think they could be coordinating it a little bit more with a little bit more intent. We can see them trying to run away now, but Vanguard's getting rooted in the center of the map. Smexen kind of getting left behind. Vincent Wong trying to reposition so he's in range just in case they do make another swap. We see the Hodge. There's the coordinated stuns. Now they need to be able to connect, but Smexen's into the full sheep. Vincent Wong unable to dispel at the moment into that poly, into the root beam, now into the full clone, but Majidin already down to 18%. And even with just that one stun, dipping him dangerously low, forcing the wings and the save by the light proc. So if Luminosity can keep getting these double stuns, maybe they can make this happen.
Yeah, those double suns got a lot of work done, man. Majidin got scared. He had to blink away. Sham Rage is going to fade on Vanguards, and Vincent Wong just recently got interrupted, but Vanguards should be topped back up as they hug their pillar right here, getting ready to go back out. There's the DR Cyclone onto Vincent Wong. Smexen forced to play defensive as whoever's in line of sight is just taking all of the laser beams of this team. And here we go. It looks like they want to push out finally all together. There's the Stormbolt. It's going to instantly get Barkskinned onto Asper. And there's the Hodge on the Floria. They're actually swapping over in him with Recklessness as well. It's going to force the Trinket execution sentence without the wings this time around. Saber the Light's going to be procced onto Floria. And it looks like Smexen is going to be peeled, but for not for long. Heroic Leap coming out. Floria getting those casts off. Smexen connecting once again. But it looks like Floria's free cast is going to allow him to be able to be okay. But still, they're putting this team on their toes with this coordination of their stuns.
That could have been death for Floria if he didn't fake the heroic leap pummel, so really well done. We see a Stormbolt though on Floria, Mageddon down below half HP. Vanguards is not afraid to keep going after him right now, trying to chase now even after Floria. And I like that they pushed for that really aggressive play on Floria when he didn't have the wings. Unfortunately, they didn't get anything other than his trinket out of it. We see Smexen cloned up at low HP. Vincent Wong trying to look to time a heal out of that here shortly to try and pick him back up. There's the Holy Light, gets recloned on it, not able to get a single heal in between the gaps. Asper timing his clones perfectly. We see Vanguards getting cloned up. Looks like they want to set up onto Smexen. Masterfleck comes out onto the deep freeze. Can they stop the polymorph onto Vincent Wong? Looks like Smexen was able to shut it down. They get the Frostjaw instead. Smexen dipping dangerously low. His Saber the Light is going to proc. He pops his regeneration heal. Vanguards is not CC. He should be able to off heal. Nice big healing surge. Pops Smexen back up. He's immediately going back down. Die by the sword is forced. Mageddon dipping kind of low here. Floria forced to pop his Avenging Wrath. And now once again using his Avenging Wrath on his partners. If Luminosity can survive, maybe they can look for another swap onto Floria.
Yeah, if they can survive is the key word. Now Vincent Wong using his wings, getting that execution sentence off, but this is Floria's cooldowns. He's going to use Barkskin at this point. Floria put into that full stun. Asper's cooldowns do finally fade, and it looks like Luminosity is stabilized for now. And look at Method Black's health pools. Everyone who gets in melee range of this team is just getting punished. Finally, Floria's wings are going to be fading at this point, and Luminosity could be ready to set up some offensive pressure. They're punching Mageddon very, very hard, dipping down to 55% health here. Floria is still not caught into any CC. The Hand of Sacrifice is going to be caught, as well as the Aura Mastery to get Mageddon back up and healthy and ready to go. But here's the setup onto Smexen, as the Aura Mastery is forced out from Vincent Wong, as well as the Mass Spell Reflect from Smexen.
That was not a good setup, though. They didn't get the root beam on time, and Vincent was able to dispel the Hodge, and now it's getting reversed in their face. Floria stuck into that Fist of Justice from Vincent Wong, dipping dangerously low. He has to be careful. He has no Avenging Wrath to try and save himself here. Asper into the Stormbolt, bubbles at 6%. Smexen narrowly not able to execute him there. Vanguards and Smexen, though, getting cloned up. Vincent into the full polymorph, but it did end up breaking. I didn't see a sacrifice, so somebody might have accidentally broken that sheep. Now they don't have the CC required. Vanguards just doesn't matter, though. He's going to trinket. He's going to pop the Shaman Rage. They want to stay offensive. They know that they got the bubble out from Floria. They want to try and get a kill within the next 30 seconds. If Floria has the Avenging Wrath, he should be able to get some casting heals up. We see Vincent Wong moving forward. Lands the Fist of Justice. There's the Stormbolt onto Asper. Can they connect in time? Pet Nova out from Mageddon. Really well timed. Peeling for Asper here. He's trying to hold on to that Barkskin. Trying to get rid of the Grounding Totem. Looking for a setup here on the Vanguards with no Trinket and no Shaman Rage. He's very vulnerable. Vincent Wong knows this. He pops the Avenging Wrath preemptively. Will it be enough? He's caught into the Deep Freeze. They need to stop the sheep. They don't manage to get it. Vincent Wong forced a Trinket. He's going to top him off. Vanguards pops the Ascendance, but gets cloned on it. Asper, once again, just denying anything from Vanguards.
I mean, it's really important that he does that, but here we go. The Stormbolt goes on to Asper, forcing that Barkskin right away. Floria in the back line. He's trying to get a drink off, but they're not letting him. They're pushing in. There's the full Hodge. He has no bubble available, but he does have a trinket. Should he have trinketed that? Saber the Light is going to proc. Asper and Floria, I'm sorry, Mageddon and Asper need to peel for Floria right here. The bop goes out, but there's an enhancement shaman ready to purge. He's being put into those polymorph as well, and that bop is going to stay long enough for Floria to be okay for now, but everyone on Method Black is just taking the damage. Here's the setup, though, on the Hodge, on the Vanguards. He can't rage out of that. The bubble is forced out from Vincent Wong. Can his bubble and flash heals save him through this? It looks like that was a good trade for now, especially considering Vanguards could not rage in that silence. But now the pressure is back onto Floria. He doesn't have bubbles still. They're pushing the pressure onto them, but everyone on Method Black is just dipping lower and lower.
Yeah, there's a preemptive Shaman Rage out from Vanguards. He knows that he needs to stay offensive with, as you're saying, Method all down at half HP. Mageddon actually going to trade out a block with the Avenging Wrath, try and stabilize. They're looking for another push here with no Shaman Rage on Vanguards and no Trinket, no bubble on Vincent Wong. They could swap the Smexen as well. He has no Trinket. Celestial Alignment is available. Luminosity have to survive this next setup. They know that this next setup could be the game. They're all behind the pillar, getting ready for it, preparing for the attack. They know that the Avenging Wrath is up for Floria. Maybe Floria is going to go for a drink in this position, knowing that that they are going to try and turtle it up to deal with the cooldowns. We see Asper choosing to Barkskin as he goes into that Stormbolt. Floria sitting down for a drink, but now he's caught in the Fist of Justice. Asper dipping to 47% HP. He does have the save of the Light Proc. We see the Bash Beam on a Vanguard. String gets that right away. Deep Freeze onto Smexen, looking for the kill onto him. Into the half hodge, an immense amount of pressure following it up, and there's the Celestial Alignment burst coming from Asper and finishing him off. And I can't help but feel that Luminosity kind of overstayed their welcome. They didn't want Floria to drink, but with no trinket, you're just so exposed against this wizard comp that you're just going to get blown up as soon as you leave the box. So maybe they should have just let him drink. Maybe dampening would have helped them as opposed to mana. Maybe he would have burned through it just as fast, but definitely Method Black able to capitalize on that well-timed drink from Floria and trying to bait Vanguards and Smexen to leave the pillar.
Yeah, I mean, it was close. I mean, looking at Asper, he was in trouble. He was using his Barkskin, and Floria was really far back taking that drink, and the Turbo smelled blood, but unfortunately, it was their own, because as soon as they made that setup go, the Celestial Alignment came out. Smexen, without that trinket, regardless, he was in defensive stance, but that's just not enough damage reduction against a crazy setup like that in Celestial Alignment. So looks like the next map choice is going to be Ruins of Orderon out from this Turbo. Interesting map choice coming out from them. And
I kind of like it. I like they seem to be winning whenever Vincent can actually do something.
Yeah, he
when
gets
he's
in
getting
their
the
face,
hodges.
gets that hodge, and they get stuff every time, man. But
So I would like to see them play more aggressively and go for the stuns. Play for an earlier game because you're not going to dampen this comp. You can see that they're just so comfortable with polymorphs and clones. Floria can just pull back, stay very far away, and it's very hard for Luminosity to close the gap to get to him. So I would like to see them play for an earlier win. Luminosity, that is, and use the cooldowns like Ore Mastery out of a beam, Freedom, Vanguards, and Smexen to keep them mobility high. Maybe even have Vincent position up for rebukes on some CC or something. Just play very aggressively, and Runes of Orderon could allow them to do it, but it is their final map. Maybe they're not going to be able to play that aggressively. They feel it's too risky, being at their final chance. But they definitely looked strong when they were getting the double stuns, and Vincent was able to participate with his team.
yeah, I mean, on Runes of Orderon, Vincent's going to be able to be in their face, but it's a double-edged sword, man. It's definitely a double-edged sword, especially against a team like this with so much CC. So here we go. This potentially could be the last game. I don't know. Luminosity, this is their map choice. Here we go. I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out. I mean, honestly, I feel like Luminosity has been catching a stride almost, finding their strat, finding up their synergy. And it seems to be working well for them so far, but I mean, this is a really tough composition for them to go up against here in GPL #1. But it looks like both teams are super patient right now.
Well, it's all position. This entire matchup is positioning. Like the casters want them in the open, and Luminosity wants them on the tomb. And right now, it's just an invisible debate onto whether or not who is going to not turtle.
Yeah.
So
who's gonna not
team.
turtle?
Yeah.
Look at them. They both know what's up. I feel like this is a bit. It's like kind of like a sign of respect, though, as well. Like they know that at any moment, if they're out of position, they will be forced to either use defensive cooldowns or go down. So I mean, I don't know. Both these teams know what's on the line. Luminosity, just one game away, isn't going to be pushing up. Here we go.
Yeah, we see Asper coming up. There's the root beam on Vincent Wong. He locked him on his heel from stealth, but Asper's going to take a lot of damage from overextending like that. Already down to 29% HP. He's saved by the light procs. He's holding onto that Barskin, going for some defensive clones. There's the Hodge on the Floria, but Smexen gets cloned up. Floria is going to trade the wings and his wall, but trading the wings and the wall for no ascendance and no wreck is a bit of an opening. As long as the Luminosity don't go down in his burst, Smexen trinkets maybe a little bit too late. Pops to die by the sword. His save by the light is going to proc. He gets cloned up on the few seconds of that return. I think he cloned the execution sentence out from Vincent Wong, and now he needs to hard cast some heals to be able to top him. This is going to be very hard for Vincent to recover.
I mean, he cloned more than that, man. He also cloned like a whole bunch of Saved by the Light absorption, and it faded. But I mean, he looks like he's going to be A-okay from Vincent Wong's wings here, but the mass Spellerflight coming out, preventing some more CC. But regardless, Vincent Wong caught into that full polymorph. Vanguard's forced to use that shamanistic rage, and it looks like Vincent Wong is just catching all the CC on this small map like this. But Smexen, regardless, he wants to push in on Floria, and they got quite a bit of damage out from him. But Floria's not scared. He's running right back at him and getting that full Hodge onto Smexen as Vincent Wong goes into that deep freeze.
Wow,
Smexen,
he actually dispelled that Hodge.
Wow, that is a quick dispel.
What? I didn't even see it. He got it off immediately, but they need to go on Floria while he doesn't have the Avenging Wrath up. It looks like they're kind of stuck hitting Asper, and he's just going to trade the Barskin out. Now Floria's wings are going to rotate off CD. I mean, they're all at half HP, but only for a few more seconds.
only for a few more seconds indeed. Barkskin about to fade, and it looks like Method Black is being pushed back finally. All their CC is on DR and Vincent Wong for now. So they have no setups available, so they're going to be pushing back a little bit. Majidin taking a bit of pressure. Ooh, and his water elemental actually gets locked out. He doesn't have one. Saved by the Light going to proc onto Majidin, and it looks like Luminosity, being so close to these guys, is able to get so much pressure and defensive cooldowns and whatnot without even without the setup just yet. But I mean, this is what they need to do. But at any moment, the setup could come, and it could be curtains for these guys. And as I say that, the clone goes out on the Smexin. Vanguards is the kill target for now. He's just taking a whole bunch of pressure at this point. They're going to be just sitting on top of Majin and trying to lock out all of his control, and the Shamanistic Rage is going to be forced out. I'm not sure about that, and the Cyclone comes out on it.
Yikes. Full Hodge on the Smexin. Deep Freeze Polymorph lands. Dipping below half HP. Vincent Wong bubbles. Will it be enough in time? Spamming the heals is Saved by the Light. Will save him for now. But now burning through the bubble. Method Black are pushing forward through the cooldowns. Full Hodge on the Floria. Asper has Barskin. He's trying to hold on to it. He displaces away. Chooses to use it now. Looking for some Cyclones here onto the DPS. But he does get wind sheared by Vanguards. Can they keep the momentum rolling? Doesn't look like they can. Smexin's going to get cloned up. Vanguard's getting polymorphed. And this is this crowd control that Method Black are looking to use whenever they don't have a kill to go for. They're just going to crowd control them up, try and CC off the Sacred Shields, maybe from Vincent Wong. Look for the next setup when Deep Freeze is available, which it is now. Floria looks like they want to push in. They have the Avenger wrapped up for a few more seconds. Are they maybe even going to make a swap? I see dots on Vincent. Vincent actually gets locked out on his heel. Master Fleck comes out preemptively from Smexin to try and eat a Hodge. I'm not sure if it was accomplished or not there. Full polymorph onto Vincent. Vanguard's trying to push forward actually onto Floria. He's got Shaman Rage up, trying to stay offensive here. Floria, it'll actually put a bit of pressure, Hodged up at half HP. Can they keep the momentum going? Are they going to force him to bubble down to 36% HP? Asper trying to clone up. Polymorph's coming out from Majid and trying to peel for Floria, and he will stabilize without using a bubble. And I would say that Floria is like one of the best paladins in terms of like rotating through cooldowns, not overlapping. He knows when his team is safe. Here's the setup to try and look for the win on the Vanguards. He trinkets out of the Root Beam Bash. Vincent Wong gets deep frozen. They're going to use the Master Fleck to try and break up some crowd control. The Avenging Wrath will stabilize Vanguards. It's just ping-ponging back and forth between the teams at the moment.
Yeah, over and over, man. There's the Hodge onto Floria. Looks like Majidin is the one who's taking a bit of pressure at this point, but the control from this team is just putting Luminosity on the back foot. There's the DR Bash onto Vanguards as Vincent Wong's put into another polymorph. Vanguards without that Shamanistic Rage for 10 more seconds. Can he survive the onslaught? Rallying Cry coming out from Smexin. Vincent Wong finally coming out of CC into more CC. Vanguards is alone behind the tomb at this point. He's going to catch that Hodge. Rallying Cry fades. Vanguard's in trouble. The DR polymorph comes out onto Vincent Wong, and Vanguards is going to get cloned up on that Shaman Rage as soon as he pops it. And if they can get a follow-up clone on that Shamanistic Rage could be negated completely. But it looks like he might be okay for now. The pressure is just non-stop. But look at Asper. He's pushing in. He's so vulnerable right now. They could turn this around at any second.
Oh, Vincent Wong preemptively gifted the Naru the clone there. Will that gift to the Naru be enough to keep Vanguards alive? It's the only thing he has remaining. Vincent Wong needs to get some heals out here. He gets put into the Root Beam. It is going to fade shortly here. The Hodge on the Vanguards, they're going to clone him up again, trying to deny that Saved by the Light. A sheep on a Vincent Wong actually broke there again, and I'm a little bit unsure what's breaking some of these sheeps, but it might not matter. Vanguards at 1%. It's going to go down. Vincent Wong tried to hold onto his bubble. I think it actually wasn't off CD until maybe the final second of that game. But that means that Method Black are going to take a 3-1 against Luminosity and move forward in the winner side of the bracket to fight against Cloud9 here. I believe, are we doing winner's bracket tomorrow?
We actually are doing 2 games of the winner bracket today. So we're going to be doing 8 matches today and then 6 tomorrow. But, I mean, Vanguards, we're watching Vincent Wong. We're watching the replay right now. Vincent Wong holding on to that bubble for the very last second. But, I mean, Vanguards was in a Cyclone for a bit of that time. So even if he did bubble, it wouldn't have been able to heal him for just a brief period of time there. But he definitely had opportunity. I'm sure he's kicking himself right now, but still, what a crazy close game. Luminosity playing so very well. Vincent Wong doing a great job synergizing those stuns and whatnot as the games went on, but wow. Let's take a quick look at that bracket.
I think an important fact of this tournament is that these players are still using all of last season's gear.
Yes. This is not the newest and greatest and best gear out in the Conquest vendors quite yet, because so the damage and the health will be increased. I'm really curious to see how that's going to translate.
I'm so scared.